Hello once again, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of AIW's The Card is Going to Change. Before we get into this week's episode, we of course want to give a shout out to our sponsors that are helping us bring this podcast back to you. It's been over a month, well over a month, maybe almost 2 months.
Almost 2 months. Not a lot of sponsorship dollars coming in.
Not a lot of sponsorship dollars, but shout out to people who helped us previously. Shout out to Smoking Jays is one that I think we don't often give him the proper respect due on this show.
I will say this about Smoking Jays. Going forward, Smoking Jays will be available for the foreseeable future at the Odeon events.
There you go.
Especially until we get this pizza situation under control, which we could probably address here shortly.
We'll get into the pizza situation. We know
it's been a while.
We currently don't have a pizza sponsor. Thanks to anybody who's ever contributed. As we always say, Pollyanna DIY, Sean Jaundice at Voodoo Monkey Tattoo, Thrift Store Jobber.
Met Pollyanna DIY. I met him.
For the first time.
I met him at Toy Hio. He was there.
How was that?
Well, probably not too good because I was super hungover and I was carrying boxes and I was 2 hours late. And I was like, hey, what's up, man? I have no idea where I'm going. But I did meet him.
Oh, there you go.
While I was trying not to vomit on expensive toys. Which is the whole other thing we'll probably have to get into, too.
Yeah, we should get into that. So thanks to Pollyanna DIY, Thrift Store Jobber, Sean Jaundice, Voodoo Monkey Tattoo, and we said Smoking Jays. Oh, of course, Smart Mark Video and IWTV. This great merger. Thanks to that merger, watching AIW has never been easier. You can purchase AIW DVDs, MP4s from smartmarkvideo.com. The entire AIW archive in terms of things that have been recorded are there at smartmarkvideo.com, or go to IWTV, sign up, independentwrestling.tv, use the code ABSOLUTE so that they know we sent you, and watch not just AIW but countless hours of all sorts of other independent wrestling promotions. And you can of course watch the entire series of Go for Broke, our episodic show, 10 episodes, which then all lead into next week's July 30th, the Chandler Biggins Memorial Tournament.
I'm looking at the reports right now. You guys have not been watching AIW. Hello, Whiskers. Welcome back to the podcast.
Whiskers not happy about it.
You guys have not been watching AIW in the month of July on IWTV because we're down about... I'd say 1,000 hours viewed. So, get to it.
And you should. You need to, because you really should. If you've not watched Go for Broke, I encourage you to sign up for IWTV. Look, it's $9.99 a month. So
not only sign up, watch AIW on a loop until the end of the month, because wow, I've not looked at this. Much like apparently you guys have not looked at this app in a month. Woo. Man, these are
back, check it out.
These are our worst numbers of all time. Worst. I mean, how many days are left in the month? Not too many.
Well, we did spoil people with things to watch, though. In April they had two shows. Plus Go for Broke started, so there was that. Go for Broke taking you into May and in June, and we had our show, of course, in June. So there was that to watch as well. It's I guess that wasn't that long ago. Well, it's been a month. June 17th.
June 18th.
Was our June 18th was our last show.
June 18th. Yes.
Yeah, you're right. June 18th. Friday, June 18th. So as we were recording this, we're like a month removed from that last show. Major announcement. Sorry, folks, but listen, we're giving you something to watch July 30th. It is going to be a hell of a show, but for you to really be invested in it, you need to go to IWTV and watch Go for Broke. 10 episodes. They're all less than an hour.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, you really probably have no idea who's in the Chandler Biggins Memorial Tournament is even in it, and why things are seated the way they are. Right? I mean,
yeah.
Like,
so,
if you want to know how we arrived at these 10 names, then, you have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, you're probably sitting here, you're like, whoa, how the hell did Razor Sharp get in this tournament? Well, you got to go back and watch.
I'm wondering that myself.
Find out how Razor Sharp.
Honest with you. Wondering that one myself. Let's get into it, Steve. Come on, let's get into it. We haven't been talking. We might have to make this a 2-hour today. We haven't been on.
We got a lot to get into.
2 months. 2 months.
I'm gonna say this. This is gonna maybe. This is a. I don't know. Polarizing statement that I'm about to say.
Oh, jeez. I got plenty of those to make that I probably shouldn't today.
Well, folks, the July 30th after party will be at Dive Bar in downtown Cleveland.
Some people didn't like that.
Here's the thing. I understand.
Well, let's get into let's get into why the after party location has been juggled around a bit.
All right, let's talk about this.
Obviously,
we have a new pizza sponsor.
Well, not even that. We can even take it back to Good Company, right? Good Company, our good friend Jonah,
sure,
part owner, was also general managing the establishment at the time. He's now he really is just a part owner. He has really no influence on the day-to-day operation at Good Company. Could we get back in there? Maybe not. But they aren't even open to full capacity yet, and they're not open. They're only open 3 days a week, I think. So off the table, right? Plus, it's kind of a small place. I don't know, if they want 200 people showing up at their place during COVID. You know what I mean? Even in the kind of coming out on the other end of COVID, they still, they're very taking precautious. Is that a word? Precautious? Taking precautions. I don't know if precautious is a word. I'll have to look that up. But so that's off the table. Jonah opening a new restaurant, Heart of Gold. Same kind of thing. Not they're open, but I don't know. They want 200 people showing up as of right now. Probably in the future, that is on the table. We are approached by a nice gentleman, the manager of the Great Road Tavern, for our April events. Once we learn that the Angelos thing is blown up, because our hookup there, we don't even need to get into all that. But he's gone. He no longer works there. He no longer works there, and we have no connection there anymore. So we make an announcement. This gentleman approaches, sends us a message on Instagram. Says, "Hey, I'm the manager of Great Road Tavern. What can I do for you? I'd love to help you guys out." So, for the April events, we tell him, if he can provide us with X amount of pizzas, we'll, bring the after parties there. It's all, it's all good. It's great relationship. We're in there with Tommy Rich. Things are going good. So it's two birds with one stone situation, right? We have an after party spot. We have a pizza sponsor. What more could you ask for? So we talk about June 18th. It's all good. Same deal. Set up. We say, the precautions for bars and everything are gone. So we're going to put our best foot forward. We're going to promote it for them, because the after party wasn't even really for June or for the April shows, was just kind of for the wrestlers. There wasn't like a, hey, everybody come to the Great Road Tavern. It was just kind of very low key. A couple people, heard through the grapevine and showed up, but it wasn't like a full go AIW fan after party. It was mainly for the wrestlers and the staff. So this time we say, hey, we're going to put our best foot forward. We're going to pack this place. You guys are going to make a shit ton of money. Guys like, all good. Love it. Let's do it. Same deal. I'll give you guys some pizzas. You guys bring me the after party. Okay. Send, it's worked out. I believe Artie Mack is the new logistics manager of the AIW students. So he sends a young student who's only been training for a few months to go pick these pizzas up, and they go, no, that order was canceled. So he doesn't know. He's just like, sends a message like, hey, they said this order is canceled. I said, no, you got to say it's in my name. He goes and says, hey, this is the order for John Thorne. And they say, yeah, that order is canceled. And I was just like, there's no way. Like, I just talked to this guy yesterday. Like, it's all set up. He told me what time to have somebody there. It's all good. So I'm trying to get a hold of this guy. Meanwhile, doors have opened for the show. Doors have opened for the show, and we have no pizza. And I get a hold of this guy, and he's like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, I'm working at the other bar, because these people, they own a few bars in the area. He's like, oh, I'm at the other one, but I set everything up. It's all good. They come out and they tell the student that the owner specifically said that this order is canceled and we are not getting any pizzas. So we're like, what? Like, and I tell this guy that, and he's trying to call the owner. He says they're not talking to him. They're not picking up his phone calls. And, the AIW student that's there is just like told, like, you have to leave. You're not getting any of these pizzas, no matter what. They're like, it was bizarre. It's totally bizarre. Like, and still to this day, I have really no explanation for why they did it. So
I believe the one explanation that I did hear was that someone was convincing the owner that he wasn't going to be able to make the money back.
That's very possible.
There was no way we could possibly bring in enough business for the after party that he would make the money back from the pizzas.
Which is crazy. Because at the last after party, I was just throwing $20 bills at the bartender because he was being so mean to everybody. Tell him to, relax. So, they made plenty of money that night. They were going to make so much more. They're going to make, 10 times the amount of money on the 18th.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm like, well, what the fuck do we do? I open my wallet. I have like $80 in there. I grab Coach Jim and I say, or otherwise known as referee Porter O'Shea. And I say, go find a Giorgio's or a Little Caesars or something and get as many pieces as this will get you. So he goes and does that. Meanwhile, I take like the Great Road after party flyer and I say canceled, and I just say the after party's canceled tonight. Maybe this isn't that interesting to people, but this is kind of how we're getting to arriving at this new after party location. So I just write canceled. The doors are open. We have no pizza, no after party, which honestly, the after party really the least of my concerns, to be honest. It's like we have a show to get through as well, and fans are already coming in. So we have a comment that's like, why don't you have it at Dive Bar? And I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. Like, Dive Bar would never fucking host an after party. It's like a very popular establishment in downtown Cleveland. And like, then like the person's like, I am the owner of Dive Bar. I have tickets to your show. I'm inside the Odeon. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what? Like, why is the owner of Dive Bar in the crowd at AIW? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, okay. So I say, I leave a comment. I say, find the ring announcer and, tell him, tell him whatever you have to say. Because doors are open. I'm trying to get things ready for the show to start. And I guess that's where you take over.
So here's how everything kind of comes together. So the owner of Dive Bar, his name is Justin. Justin also owns multiple establishments within the Northeast Ohio area. And I met him and have known him for years from back when I used to work for Crave Vodka, which was a small vodka company that was in Cleveland years ago. And so I knew him through that. And on top of that, the guy that does the lighting at the Odeon, Matt, also has like this business where he brings in lighting and audio for DJ stuff and does all of that at Dive Bar. And then on top of all this, Justin also grew up with The Miz. And through The Miz has become good friends with Matt Cardona. And that is why he's at AIW, is to see Matt Cardona and hang out with him.
Because they're friends, and I believe they went to Cedar Point.
Buddies,
they went to Cedar Point like 2 days later.
They went to Cedar Point. They did, and oh, by the way, I was invited to go on that trip. But I had to politely decline because it was on Father's Day. So, one of their other friends, one of Justin and Mrs. friends, comes to AIW regularly, by the way. He's come to quite a few shows. But there was a contingent of them that came on this night to see Matt Cardona. And, I didn't realize that all this stuff was happening on the Facebook thing. And then you send me a text like, hey, the owner of Dive Bar or whatever, I guess, is here and is coming back to talk to you, set up this after party. And I was like, oh, cool. I know him. Great. Sure. Comes back. He's like, oh, Steve. Yeah, Steve guy. Hey, what's up? Whatever. Cool. And we set this whole thing up. And he's like, look, we are slower during the summer months. So if you guys need help and you need a place for your fans and the wrestlers to go, would love to have you. It's not going to be as crowded as it usually is. And because that was our concern. Our fans who were like, hey, Dive Bar is not a place that we would typically hang out. We understand that. And it was a conversation that I had. But because
it was a very large concern with mine, and I said, hey, I have a few things that need to be put on the docket here. No dress code, no cover charge, and I'm wearing flip-flops, they better let me in.
All of this was mentioned. All of this was said, okay, let us know at the door that you're with the wrestling after party. It was a whole thing. We made it happen, and people got in. Some of you showed up before we got there, and I think that I get that our fans, it is like a family, it's a group thing, and you like to be where you know people. And we did go there. I mean, we ended up rolling 40, 50 people deep, I think, still to this after party once we got there. And what a lot of people didn't realize is that Dive Bar hadn't opened yet, because they do open a little bit later. And some people got there. John Thorne, you were in there with some of the guys. They let you guys in early while doors were still closed, and you got drinks.
Well, yeah, so I don't know. They took us in this back door, this weird back way, and like we all were given kind of first dibs around the bar stools and everything else. And then, they were giving us free drinks, and it was like, oh, this is cool. Like, this place is just like closed, And then like, I don't know, after like a half hour, they like opened this garage door up, and like regular people came in. They had them like in a separate room, like with like separated by this like garage door. It was I just have to say my favorite part though is the fact that like there was a DJ in there, and like every 15 minutes he would just go, "Hey, Dub in the building," and it was so funny to me. I don't know why, but it was just killing me every time he did it. And I listen, dive bar ain't a place.
Chance.
Dive bar ain't my first place to go either. I think people are pretty aware of that. I will say it was easily one of the funnest after parties that has ever happened. Oh, before we even get to this dive bar thing, though, I forgot. I said, Steve, call the fun house. And the fun house was like, no, we can't handle that kind of crowd. They said no.
We can't handle it. Yeah, they said no. Yeah, I talked to the funhouse owner, and it's just they had been so crowded, and he's still trying to figure out staffing, as a lot of places are, and he just knew that they couldn't handle it, which I appreciate. We still love the funhouse. We will tell you all to go to the funhouse all the time because they've always been so great to us. But we have. But I mean, we have a great relationship
I just wanted to put it out there.
They would.
I just wanted to put it out there that was like, okay, we just tried. Fucking going to the funhouse, and we were gonna do it for nothing. No deal, no nothing. Because listen, typically, like, spoiler alert, when there's an after party, it's not like to go drink. It's like a sponsored type of thing to where they contribute money towards the company in exchange for us bringing them business. It's like a kind of an exchange of services. So just to make everybody happy, because everyone was so excited that there was finally an official after party in the books, with the Great Road getting canceled, I said, fuck it, we're not going to find anything. Like, let's just call the funhouse, tell the funhouse we're coming, and everyone will have a good time. They were like, no, we don't want you guys to come here. We can't handle the capacity. So Dive Bar asks, what do you guys usually get? And it's told, and they said, no problem.
Yep.
Like, no problem. Like, unadvertised, they didn't care. They were just like, no problem. Which, listen, if you're not a dive bar person, that's fine. But they really bailed us out when we were like, kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Like it definitely helps. And they bought so many people free drinks. So many fans got free drinks. Like, people in the bar were buying us drinks because they were treating us like we were fucking SmackDown was in town or something. You know what I mean? They didn't know. People were just like, send drinks to the wrestlers. And it was
was happening. Yeah. And then there was a fan that found out he could get bottle service, and then that happened.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I understand that some people went early. They were like, oh, I don't want to be here, and left. But it was really an entire half of this establishment was just AIW people and fans. So it was no different than any other after party. There was just a DJ, really, and there was a lot of people inside, but they weren't necessarily near us. There was like a whole other kind of dance area in the other part of the building that we weren't really in.
Which, well, we did go to. There was a dance circle that happened. There was a lot that happened at the AIW after party at Dive Bar. Like you said, it really is, I mean, hands down, one of the funnest after parties that we have ever had.
And what I'll say is this, is like, it is great to go to some of these other bars, very low-key bars. That's typically the type of bar that brings us in. Good Company, obviously, a little different scenario. It's more of a restaurant than a bar, So we would really, come in, and it would be a different scene than is usually there. Funhouse, at the time, before COVID, was just kind of like a little, hidden gem bar, outside of Lakewood. Same with some of the other places we've gone. Dive Bar does not need us. You know what I mean? It is a legit club, like essentially a club in the middle of downtown Cleveland, and they welcomed us. They met all of our, kind of requests. I won't call them demands, but they kind of came through with us. when we needed, and it was fun, and having acceptance in a place like that, I understand a lot of people are like, what, that's not your type of people, but having acceptance in a place like that kind of, raises the stock of AIW a bit, among the city, and, it kind of makes us appear, to be a bigger deal to the average person that's not a hardcore fan. And that's no disrespect to the hardcore fans. It just creates a different kind of perception for the people that aren't supporting us, which maybe they will. And I know that sounds silly to some people, but it's true. Like, the perception of the way that bar treated us and treated all of the wrestlers, really kind of raised the stock to some people that were like, hey, what is it you guys do? Like, there was a lot of that type of stuff, and like, hey, if, we got two new fans out of it, worth it.
Yeah, there was a lot of... You guys had a wrestling show where? Down at the Odeon. The Odeon? Right down in the flats? Yeah, right down there in the flats. They have wrestling shows there? Yeah, that was us. Oh, wow, that's really cool. Great. Hey, man, here's what our name is. Find us on social media. Oh, I'm going to follow you right now. Cool. This is when our next event is. And it goes from there. And yeah, Dive Bar, they're so accommodating.
It was really like almost like a weird community outreach type of thing, like, just in listen, I understand some of those people aren't your type of people if you come to AIW, but like, we're coming out of COVID, and just because we're quote unquote selling out, like, we're selling out because we're still doing restrictive ticketing, like, in 6 months, if we're still only selling 175 tickets, that's a problem, and like, that is going to be a problem going forward as far as bringing in, top tier talent and all these other things, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that are going on that, like, everyone's like, man, AIW is looking great right now, but like, when you boil down the metrics of it all, and like, if we put no restrictions on it, what would we be selling out? Probably not. You know what I mean? And so it is right now. There's a lot of kind of trial and error. So any little bit that we can do to kind of continue to raise our stock and get a couple extra bucks coming into the company, it's really it's paramount right now, because there's going to be a time where people want that top tier talent. Not saying that we don't have the top tier talent, but people are going to want to continuously see that top tier talent. And as more shows open up across the country, there's going to be a very competitive market for, that top talent.
Yeah. Look, dude, Justin Summers was in the Dive Bar, and he's not a guy that would seek out going to the Dive Bar. And he had a great time.
Alabama Dan was in there.
When we're talking about hardcore fans, Alabama Dan thought it was a blast. I mean, you just be patient. We're not always at the after party right away because we have things to take care of and do, but it's all going to be cool. And
listen, we're not asking you to go.
One of your favorite parts of that night?
Well, no, I don't remember too much about that night, but we're not asking you to go there on a night that we're not there either. You know what I mean? Like, we're asking you to go there when we're there.
Yeah,
if you don't want, you don't want to go there, don't go there on any other night.
I was gonna say, so at one point you and I are standing there talking, and the owner comes up to me, and shakes my hand, and says thanks again for coming here, and I said, hey, thanks for having us and everything. And then he walks away, and I tell you guys, oh, this is the owner. And I said, here you go. And you're like, what's this? I go, he just handed me the money. And
I saw.
Your mind was blown that he did the old school handshake.
I saw it. I saw it happen. I just thought it was funny. But it was right when we got there. Like, that's the thing too. Like, he didn't even know if anyone was going to show up. It was like. Is very early on when we got there. He was just like, here you go, here's the money. He didn't care. And like, also he bought tickets to the show.
It helps that we Right. It helps that we've got. I mean, we definitely have credibility with him because it's like I have a prior relationship. Matt, the guy who does the lighting at the Odeon, has a current working relationship with them. I was just there last weekend, hammered out the details for us to be back on July the 30th, and yeah, so it's going to be good. We're going to be good to go. It'll be a great time. You really, people, don't sleep on coming to the after party if you want to have more fun.
Yeah, give it a chance. That's all I got to say is, stick it out, and then, if you don't like it, you don't like it. It certainly wasn't my first choice. I'll say that. And I ended up having a real good time in there because it was just, us, but it was like there was a club DJ too. But yeah, it's it is what it is. And then, I will say, as far as I know, there will be no after party after the Saturday event in Ashtabula County because I don't know anything that even exists out there. To be perfectly honest,
so
I don't know.
I think we've talked about this before, but we can kind of clarify a little bit more. So Godfather / Papa Shango, he will be there, but it's an AIW show, but it's not an AIW show, if that makes sense. Like we are bought entertainment at this show.
Yeah, so we are essentially being brought in, like a touring band or something. They said, here is what we will pay you all in to run your show. And, we're running the show. It's going to be ran like a regular AIW show once it starts. But all the other stuff, we really don't know. We don't know what time we're starting as of yet. I would guess around 4 p.m. I know that they have hired some bands. So there's some vendors. There's a bunch of food trucks coming in. I don't know what else they have planned as of now. I do know that the Godfather is going to sign and do photo ops as the Godfather, and he will also do full paint and take photos and sign as Papa Shango as well. That is more or less part of the festival part of the day. So, I told them to try to lock that up, butt that up as close to the AIW show as possible. And, we're going to give you, your regular, probably 2.5 hour, 3 hour AIW show. I think there's 8 or 9 matches set as of right now. It is outside. I will say that it is outside. From what I understand, they are putting floor seating around the ring, and then the general admission seats are a little bit far away from the ring. It's like a grandstand area at the county fairgrounds in Ashtabula. So I would recommend probably springing for the floor seats if you want to be anywhere close to the ring. From we didn't design the ticketing. We aren't doing the ticketing. I don't know how much ticketing is left. I know nothing about any of that stuff. But they are, they stepped up and they wanted to hire us for the day, and they aren't skimping on the budget. We're going to put a really good show forward. And yeah, it's I'm excited to do another double shot weekend, to be perfectly honest, because I thought when we did it in April, it was a ton of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and I mean, maybe it's because we've had, largely a year off, and we all haven't been around each other very much. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but yeah, it's fun to just do the whole weekend and do things like that. And we have another double shot weekend coming up in
at the end of
August too.
Yeah, we have, well, let's just break down kind of the schedule leading up to that. So we have July 30th at the Odeon. Only general admission tickets remaining. All the floor seating is gone. July 31st, I don't think they're doing any ticketing restrictions. Not sure what ticket levels remain, but I'm gonna try to load it up. We just announced Tim Downs versus Ethan Wright as the first matchup announced for that show. So I don't know what's left and what's not left for that event. August 14th, we will be at the North Canton Street Festival, which is another kind of, bringing us in as entertainment gig. Totally free admission. As of right now, it is going to be 2 shows, one at 4 and one at 6. We are possibly going to add more earlier in the day. Just waiting back for confirmation on that. But that one is totally free. So anyone can come to that and just kind of hang out. It's like it's a street festival. There'll be all kinds of stuff going on there. And then August 28th, we are back at the Odeon with Danhausen returning. Limited floor seating available for that one already, just based on going on sale last week. I think front row there's 2 left as of this recording. And then August 28th, new location at the First Stop Parma for Wrestle Rager. All tickets are general admission, $25. Bring your own chair if you want, stand if you want. Going to be very similar to the Wrestle Rager events of the past, just in a different area, right off of 480 on State Road in Parma, Ohio. And then 9/10 back at the Odeon. Tickets on sale on Patreon. That was a lot.
There you go. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, you should probably get on top of that. Patreon.com/AI Wrestling, and you can get tickets earlier than everybody else. You can guarantee yourself first row, second row, whatever seats that you want to get for the events at the Odeon. And of course, everything else, just make sure that you get seats for these ones that are general admission.
I guess
like Wrestle Rager.
Let me break that down, because just so people aren't confused, because I did put it on social media earlier this week, but pre-COVID we sold front row and stage seating, and then it's a free for all for every other seat in the place. During COVID, in these kind of transition shows that we've been doing, we experimented with, per row seating. So going forward, we are going to sell per row, as well as, on the stage. And then, so first row, second row, third row, and then on the stage, first row on the stage. And then there are 2 general admission rows on the stage, which are, those seats are first come, first serve for the people that purchased that ticket level. Everything else, every seat is going to kind of it's going to be sold moving forward instead of a free for all. Everyone run and try to grab a seat. So first through third row on the floor will be sold. There will be no rows beyond that. If those sell out, then we will possibly add standing room only tickets available for each of the shows, but we're not going to do that unless there's a demand for it.
And also, are we, I think that you said this on social media, it kind of glossed over here, but we're not going to stick to the groupings of 2 and 4.
No.
Correct.
No, I'm eliminating all the ticket grouping. Everything is a single ticket now. We've added more seats per row available. It's more than what we've been having per row during kind of the COVID transition type of shows. but it is less than what we would have had previously, pre-COVID. So for an example, pre-COVID, we would have 60 front row seats. Now we're going to have 50 front row seats going forward. So, about 10 less, so people can still have some room to kind of spread out a little bit and not be, jammed in there right on top of each other.
So there you go. That's important to note, folks. Let's what else? I'm trying to think what else we talk about. I mean, let's go back to July 30th here real quick. Let's talk about that. Although I do want to say one thing. We announced this Danhausen thing, and can some of you AIW fans just do us a solid and defend us out there? There are a lot of people I'm noticing on social media who are like, "Oh man, Danhausen's finally coming to Cleveland." And it's like, what? Like, have you never listened to this guy on a podcast? He talks about AIW all the time as a place that helped make him. But
but it's stuff like that to where I feel we need to do these like weird, different things to kind of reach more of the obscure or average fan in the Cleveland area, because I saw a ton of people that were like, "Holy shit, Danhausen in Cleveland," and it's just like, what? This guy's been here for like 5 years. I mean, maybe not that long, but he's been here since Mount Carmel. You know what I mean?
I would say that it's probably close to 5 years. Yeah.
So it's just,
I think 2016 he started coming around.
It's just crazy to me, but that is why it's like, oh yeah, AEW is like the top of Cleveland or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? But there's still so many Cleveland wrestling fans out there that have no idea we exist, So every little bit we can do to continue to reach those people, because, not everyone comes to every single show. So it is always good that, if 50 people are like, I'm skipping that one, to hopefully have a pool of 50 others that aren't skipping it, like I said, I'm
absolutely.
I am a little worried, based on how things are going. Like, we're selling these shows, and ticket pricing has been increased from what it was pre-COVID, so that's kind of helping a little bit. But can we even sell 300 tickets? I don't know. I really don't. I really don't know if right now we could sell 300 tickets for $20. So
July,
prove me wrong on July 31st, honestly.
Yeah, July 30th, you mean? Yeah.
Well, July 30th is limited.
The big festival,
July 30th is limited.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So,
August prove us wrong. Yeah.
I'm still keeping them, around so the 30th I have set up for 175. And I would be willing to push that to 200 if those GAs sell. Mm-hmm. And the shows going forward, I have set up for 200. The shows in August, in September, I have set up for 200 tickets. So, a gradual scale up, which some people are kind of like mad, like go full capacity, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like if you go full capacity and you're not selling it, then, what are you doing?
Right. Yeah. But where are we at with tickets on July 30th? We're doing all right.
We're doing okay. We're at like 115 tickets or something. So, it's still a while to go to hit that 175.
Yeah, let's get people there. Let's go, folks. We are less than 2 weeks out from that. And July 30th, for those who don't know, aside from being the Chandler Biggins Memorial Tournament, part of why we settled on this date is because July 30th would be Chandler's 39th birthday.
Yeah.
So,
and I was I was very like firm on this date needing to be this date, because I was thinking about this and I was trying to think of a way to discuss it, and we've done Chandler Biggins Memorial things in the past, but they were never what they should have been or could have been, because it was just like, I know we should be doing this, but it was always still a little, I don't know, too fresh in everyone's head to really buckle down and like come up with something that was deserving, if that makes sense. And I think finally, like with this go for broke concept and how we arrived at this, I feel like it is really what he would want it to be. And it is something focusing on pretty much, students coming out of the school in the local Cleveland wrestling scene, and putting a focus on that. And I think, this year it finally feels right. And that's why I was so adamant on, making it on his birthday and, really trying to finally connect all the dots on this, and I'm not saying that the previous Chandler Biggins incarnations weren't meaningful. I'm just saying, like, they weren't what they should have been, because I don't think any of us could have sat down and focused and said, how do we really do this for Chandler? Because, it's just, it's honestly, it's a weird thing to sit and talk about. It's a weird thing to sit and try to develop. And I think, through COVID and all the other stuff, kind of finally gave us all that chance to process a lot of different things, and especially that, and get to where we can provide a tournament that is, on par with what he would want it to be.
Yeah, this is much more of a proper tribute to Chandler than, well, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's not that the other ones weren't proper tributes, because honestly, like the tag tournament was a solid tribute, because you're looking at the last tag tournament that we did in 2019 was a great collection of tag teams who had a connection to him. But we're getting to that point where a lot of the veteran wrestlers that had a connection to him aren't here as much anymore. They moved on to bigger companies and done other things. But so then where do we go from there? And obviously Chandler with a huge hand in developing what the AIW Academy was to become. What better way to pay tribute to him than have this tournament that really showcases what AIW has always been about, which has been cultivating talent, and here specifically, for the most part, talent from its own school.
Well, and if it's not, I think what are there's two people not from the school, but they are Ohio based. Razor Sharp, obviously, is something that Chandler would be full on board for.
Yeah.
And, Ethan Wright is somebody that Chandler would certainly be a fan of, based on, how he developed through Go for Broke. The rest is, homegrown AIW born and bred students. And I just think, well, yeah, but the Duke is, for better or worse, an AIW product, whether we want to claim it or he wants to claim it. It is what it is at this point. We're just too connected in history. So yeah, I just think that it right now is, it feels right. It feels like the right thing to do. Being able to hold the event on his birthday, his family being in attendance, I just think it's the perfect storm for this to, hopefully become, a standalone attraction, for people to celebrate his life and celebrate his contributions to, the world of wrestling in the Cleveland area. And, well, I guess around the globe, you know what I mean? Like, not only Cleveland, but, it's just, I don't know. It just felt like the right thing to do. And, I guess you could say that the dive bar after party will be the Chandler Biggins birthday party. So maybe we'll get Patty down there.
Yeah, we're gonna party all night. We're gonna celebrate Biggins. If you've ever been a fan of AIW, if you've ever been a fan of this podcast because Biggins was on it, and you haven't gotten your tickets yet, and you've always wondered, well, what can I do to kind of pay my respects and show my appreciation for what he gave to the world of wrestling? That's what this is all about. That's what this night is about. It's styled in a way. Go for Broke even was kind of styled in a way. There were a lot of times in configuring Go for Broke that we sat here and we said, oh, Chandler would love if we did this and if we went this direction with it. So even, I mean, the matchups, like you said, Razor Sharp being in there, I think Biggins would just love and he would think is great. The Duke, you got to have the Duke in there because Biggins would love to be yelling at him during the course of this. So it's all really built with him in mind. And come party with us. Come celebrate this guy and get what I think is going to be a really fantastic showcase of what AIW has in terms of homegrown talent.
Yeah, and, we're going to be all hungover and head to Ashtabula first thing in the morning. So if anyone's
with
looking
the Godfather, though.
Yeah, with the Godfather. So that's a whole different kind of hungover.
By the way, this will be finally your first meeting with him.
Yeah, I did not get to meet him when he was here. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to, just getting back at it.
Well, there you go, folks. Listen, July 30th, the tickets are on sale. If you go to AIWrestling.com, you can buy tickets there. And for everything else, go to patreon.com/AIWrestling. Sign up for Patreon. That's where tickets are on sale at the moment. So who knows what's going to be available once they are released to the general public. So if you want to get them ahead of time,
some stuff's on sale. So if you go to AIWrestling.com, you'll see what is available to the general public right now. So almost everything. Sign up for that email list. If you don't want to do the Patreon early bird special tier, and I don't know. It's been a while. I'm kind of out of the podcast. I don't know. I just feel in a weird mood tonight. My cat yelling at me.
I guess yeah, you're getting hollered at. I will say this in closing on my part. Us being out of the podcast game is largely due to me. I am now partially somewhat a homeowner, so there's been a lot of transitioning and a lot of work to do, but I'm ready. I'm set up. We'll be back in this game. We'll be available to you guys
going forward
and ready to rock and roll. Yeah, going forward, we're ready to rock. But I'll tell you, you want to talk to me about home ownership and be a part of the landscaping conversations that I have with Josh Goldstein. Feel free to hit me up and find me on July 30th. Not during the show or before it because I'll be way too busy, but find me at the dive bar.
Maybe that'll be a new Patreon podcast, Landscape Talk with Steve Guy.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add to this one, John Thorne?
No, shoot us some tweets. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We always kind of come into this cold. It always ends up being kind of like a shill discussion based on what's, on the horizon, especially after not doing it for almost 2 months. But let us know, what topics you want us to talk about, and we'll do, it seems, knock on wood, hopefully COVID is in the rear view for the most part, and events will be happening going forward. So, with events coming back, we want to, get back to the roots of this podcast and, discussing various different things and having fun again. And, we're also working on developing more stuff for Patreon and more kind of standalone content for the AIW brand, so to speak, to where we can, become a lot more interactive and grow the company and, grow our fan base. I know some people are not a fan of Patreon. They just want shows and tickets and that's it. But, that's not the way of the world anymore. It is a new way to, make revenue for the company and, connect more with our fan base. And that's what we're looking to do to close out 2021, these next 5 or so months, and, really kick things off into full go in 2022, hopefully with gigantic crowds and a lot more people supporting us.
Well, there you go. We hope to see quite a few of you at the Odeon July 30th for the Chandler Biggins Memorial Tournament, and a whole bunch of you the following day out in Ashtabula. For AIW owner John Thorne and Mr. Whiskers, my name is Steve Guy. We'll talk to you next week for sure, right here on AIW's The Card is Going to Change.